Hey guys, and welcome back for another video. So as you probably took away from the thumbnail, today we're going to be talking about the Lunar New Year. This was recently added in a patch a few days ago, and it's a smaller-ish sized festival, but there's still a little bit that you might want to participate in. Just like with last Winter's Day, this entire event is going to be contained to the Crown Pavilion in Divinity's Reach, or the human racial capital. Rather than snow, this time we get some dog-themed things, as well as some Cantha-themed things, which is sort of the tradition of this event, and the dog, of course, being the Year of the Dog on the Chinese calendar. Just like with the last few festivals we've had, they have introduced a new mount race, but unlike last time, instead of going one way around Divinity's Reach, this time we get to go the other way. Now, I'm mostly joking here, but it is kind of interesting to me that the very last festival we had a mount race, and it was just going the other way around the city. I will say that this one is a little bit more hands-on. There's a little bit more to the race, but all in all, it's nothing too crazy from what we've seen from mount races since they were introduced in Path of Fire. Also, like the previous mount races, there is an achievement for completing the race on foot rather than with a mount, and if you're someone who doesn't yet own Path of Fire, don't worry, because there is now a vendor who will let you rent a raptor for 20 silver. If you should complete this race in under 3 minutes 30 seconds, then you'll get a free new mini pet, which is just a choya with dog ears. I actually really like this mini, and several of the other minis that came out with this patch. In addition to a new mount race, we also got a new adventure, which is something I really haven't talked about on this channel. Adventures in Guild Wars 2 are sort of like mini games, and as of the Path of Fire expansion, the majority of these events are based around mounts, as you might guess, and you basically just need to climb up on your mount and collect so many of something, in this case fireworks, before the timer runs out. Just like with the mount race, this is going to take you all around the circular Divinity's Reach, and once you've finally completed it, it will rate you on a bronze, silver, gold ranking system. So if you want to repeat that until you get gold, there's a little something extra for you to do while you're here. But the real bread and butter of this patch, at least for me, every time it comes in, is the return of a PvP activity called Dragon Ball. Now, if you're a fan of the Dragon Ball franchise, don't get too excited, it's nothing like that. But basically, Dragon Ball is a 5-on-5 PvP match where everyone starts off with only one ability, and the same ability at that, and it's gonna be up to you to walk through the map and find little orbs to collect other abilities. You will get to keep all those abilities unless you die, which is pretty easy to do in this game mode, so it might not be a bad idea to kind of remember where all those pickups are, as their spawn location does not change at all. To make things even more interesting, every player starts with only 100 health, and most of the abilities you unlock only do between 15 and 30 damage. Just to give you a quick overview of what you can expect, your one ability will launch a little fireball out in front of you, and you can do 15 damage with that. Your second ability throws a fiery explosion on the ground wherever you target the reticle, dealing up to 30 damage. Your third ability will blast out some ice around you and chill nearby enemies. The fourth ability you unlock gives you kind of a flying kick, and you'll be able to daze enemies and do 15 points of damage. And your fifth ability puts up a barrier that will reflect some of those incoming fireballs. None of these abilities can be upgraded through the course of the fight, with the exception being the one ability. This is going to add a second fireball into the equation that is faster and has longer range, dealing an additional 15 damage. The Dragon Ball map itself is pretty small, so I'm not going to break down where to get each of these upgrades or abilities, because it's only going to take you 2 or 3 matches to find these if you're looking for them. As with a lot of the PvP in Guild Wars 2, it's the first team to 500, and every kill that you score is going to be 20 more points towards that total. While I'm not going to go into the specifics of where all the power-ups are located, that doesn't mean I don't want to give you guys any tips, and if I had any, it would just be that this map has some jump pads on it. Try, if you haven't in-game already, to learn how those jump pads work, because that can be a little bit of a headache when you're getting used to everything. As I said before, the power-ups are always in the same location, so try to memorize those as fast as possible. And from personal experience, I usually like to cut a hard left or right at the beginning of a match, as either side is going to have a hole in it that when you jump down will immediately power up your one ability. You can then use the jump pad to head back up to your teammates, or if you guys are all heading down there together, you can use those tunnels to get to the central arena. This isn't a crazy tip or anything, it's just sort of a way for you to get a little bit of a power up and then get to where the action is right away. And guys, outside of some of the achievements that came in with this festival, that's the bulk of the activities that you can do. But just like with most of the festivals, if not all of the festivals that come into this game, we have a new vendor to play around with as well. This vendor is going to be located just to the right of the dog shrine as you first come into the map, and it's at this vendor that for 1 gold you can purchase these envelopes that are only available during this time of year. There is a daily limit to the amount of envelopes that you can purchase, but since these envelopes are actually sellable on the trade post, you can go ahead and either sell the ones that you've bought for a gold for a little bit more than what you've spent, or if you're really itching for what's inside of those envelopes that we'll cover here in just a second, you can actually buy more than the daily allotted number to increase your chances of getting some of the loot. As far as what you actually get out of these envelopes, it's a little bit of what you would expect from a Guild Wars 2 festival, so a few consumables and a few items that are specific to the event that's taking place. So rather than say snowballs or something like that for Winter's Day, we now get fireworks. There are a few different kinds of fireworks that you can obtain through opening these, and there are several achievements tied to shooting off so many fireworks before the festival ends. For instance, if you should happen to shoot off 88 fireworks, well, you're gonna get yourself a mini pet. And since it's the year of the dog, they added a German Shepherd mini pet into the game, and he's amazing. Outside of consumables and fireworks though, the majority of why people purchase these is because you actually just get luck outright. So if you've been salvaging your gear, you probably noticed that one of the things that you can get out of that is a little bit of luck. Double clicking these increases your account magic find. If you're unfamiliar, magic find is the stat that increases the chances of you getting some good loot. As of right now, I'm pretty sure the account cap is 300, so if you see yourself nearing that, then you'll know that you're almost done. Off of luck though, there is one other thing that you can get out of these envelopes, and it's the back piece that is a random drop from these envelopes every year. This back item is always going to be themed of the animal of the year, so we're getting a dog back piece this time around. And while I am an animal lover at heart, I just never really liked any of these back pieces for whatever reason. I think I just like the look of a lot of the other backpacks in games, so I never really wanted to go for these, but I usually try to get them anyway because they sell for an okay amount on the trade post. Now, the version that you get from the envelopes is only going to be a rare, but you can actually upgrade these in the Mystic Forge to be exotic, and those will sell for a little bit more. As an additional drop from the envelopes, you can also get some trophy items that are essentially just vendor trash. Be sure to look at those though, because every now and again one of those trophy items will be worth several gold. When you vendor these items, you'll actually get most of what you put in on these envelopes back most of the time. Also, just something to keep in mind, these envelopes are actually influenced by Magic Find, so maybe save those up until the very end of the festival when you can max out your Magic Find with boosters and foods, just to make sure you get the most out of each one of these envelopes. Just make sure that if you do wait, you do it on a day that is still technically a festival day, because as you might not have noticed yet, there's a new buff on your character that is basically just more Magic Find while it's still the Lunar New Year. Wait too long though, and you'll miss out on this extra buff. Now, if you look through some of the other tabs on this vendor, you'll notice that the second one allows you to get even more envelopes, but these are going to require an extra currency. An item called Token of the Dragon Ball Championship will also be required to purchase any additional envelopes. As the name suggests, every now and again when you win Dragon Ball, you'll have a chance to win one of these tokens, and you can use it to, again, bypass the daily limit on these envelopes. In the third and final tab on this vendor, you will see a couple of other items, but those are basically just Mystic Forge items you can use to get some of the previous back pieces. Now, I'm not going to cover the Mystic Forge recipes here, but if you guys really want to see some of those recipes, I don't mind making a video. I just don't know how important it is for this one. Just below the item that allows you to get a few of those old skins, you will see yet another mini pet, and this one might just be my favorite. Now, the mini itself is going to cost you about 9 gold, which is a little unfortunate, but what you end up with is a Skrit riding a horse. Or rather, a Skrit riding 2 other Skrit in a horse costume, and I just think that's fantastic. 9 gold is way too much for this, but before this festival ends, I wouldn't be surprised if this ended up being unlocked on my account. But anyway guys, that's where I'm going to call this video. That's the gist of the Lunar New Year. I just wanted to make this video for anybody who wasn't really sure what there was to do or what was new for this year specifically. If you're like me and you still haven't maxed out your magic find, or maybe you're on a new account and you need to start building that up, this is a great way to do so if you just have a few gold to get started. But anyway guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.